Hi, I'm Nancy Herkness, and I'm here with Susan Carlisle for episode 2 of Pulling Back the Curtain. So, Susan, you have some really exciting book news. Why don't you tell us about it?
I do. It's been a good week. I am a double finalist for the Holt and two of my books, which is Reunited with the Children's Doc and Second Chance for the Children's Heart Doctor, which are both part of the Atlanta Children's series of 4 books. And I was super tickled because the Holt's a big deal, and just to be a finalist, I was really excited about. And I thank you. And I wanted to remind you that Falling for the Trauma Doc is out, and this is a 2 book. Well, I guess a duel is what they call it, a 2 book series, and this takes place during the before and during the Kentucky Derby, and then the companion one also takes place before and during the Kentucky Derby. So, anyway, if you haven't, this will give you a good taste of the back lot at the Kentucky Derby. Now, Nancy, I know you've had some good news too. Tell us what you've got.
I have. So, Royal Kaleva Gabrielle is a finalist in the Legacy Book Awards. So, I was very proud of good old Gabrielle for getting that. I wanted to mention if anybody is in New Jersey, and now I can't find my piece of paper. Oh, here it is. I'm actually going to be in person at the North Bergen Public Library with 4 other wonderful writers, and we'll be talking about the romance genre, the joys and challenges of writing in it. So if you are anywhere near North Jersey, I hope you'll stop by. It's on May 21st, and I've put a link to more information in the chat if you're interested. And then, oh, yes. Royal Kaleva Luis is on pre-order, and it's at a special pre-order price on Kindle of $2.99. So grab it because I donate a portion of my royalties for pre-orders and the first week of releases to animal rescue organizations because I am a big animal person. So I have 2 cats, of course. And what was the last thing? Oh, yes. The last thing is I have a whole ton of books on sale on Kindle. My publisher just randomly picks books to put on sale, as far as I can tell. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is. So I just wanted to mention the Second Glances series. All the books in it are on sale, including the novella, which isn't even in print. It's only digital. So I have it in this giant weird format. And then, to be truly random, 2 of the books from the Consultant series, which is a 3-book series, are on sale. The Hacker and the Agent, they're books 2 and 3. Why 2 and 3? I don't know. And then, even the most random, is The Place I Belong, which is from my Whisper Horse series, and it is the 3rd book in the series, is on sale on Kindle. So you can like fill in the whole blanks, I guess, and they're on sale for the month of May. So I think that's it for my book news. So we're going to play book trivia. The answers are on our websites, which are in the chat. So you can look them up there. So Susan, what's your question?
Okay, my question, and the winner gets, this is a dual book. They are companion books, and it takes place on the Gulf Coast in Mississippi. Both of them do. And so you get it as one book, a 2-in-1. And my question is, both of these books came out in the same month because they're companion books. And what month is it that they came out? And you can find this on my website. So all you have to do is go to susancarlisle.com and you can find that date.
So and I forgot to say, put your answer in the chat and make sure you include your email address so we can get in touch with you to send it to you if you win. So my trivia question, okay, so you will win the Money Man. And I chose the Money Man because it's the first book in the series that the other 2 books are on sale for. So I figured,
it beat my book out. It beat my book out on a contest. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, Susan's still mad at me because I beat her for the Maggie Awards the year that the Money Man came out. She was so nice, though. She said, before the contest, she said, now I read all the books in our category and I know yours is going to win. How sweet is that? So So I thought that was very kind. Anyway, this is the prize. And the question is, what fairy tale do I mention in the description of one of my Royal Kaleva series books on my website? And again, it's what fairy tale do I mention in the description of one of my Royal Kaleva books on the website? Put your answer in the chat with your email address. Okay, so now on to the reason we are wearing hats, including Sandy, who has on a gorgeous hat, by the way, if you could see her. Susan is going to talk about her favorite event in May, and that's the Kentucky Derby.
I do love the Derby and I love the horses. I think they're so pretty running and the silks and everything. All right. I had Fierceness for my horse that I was betting on. Nancy, who did you have?
I had Stronghold.
And mine came in 15th. It was the favorite in the race and came in 15th. Yours came in at
Seventh.
7. So and Stronghold was not supposed to even come in anywhere near that. So the moral of the story is watch where you put your money, I guess. But Mystic Dan did win. And Mystic Dan was one of those that was thought of not to go, no plan to win. But the neat thing is, and this is one of a number of things that was neat about the race, is the actual winner, his horse also won the Oaks race the day before.
That's
So
right.
he had 2 big winners out of that stables for the Derby this year. And the Derby also had a photo finish, a not only photo finish, but on the nose for not only 1, but 2, but 3 horses, which is almost unheard of. I don't think, in fact, I don't think 3 horses have been in a photo finish ever. So that was notable for the Derby. And we had to wait, I think it was about 5 minutes before you knew the official winner, because they have to look at the pictures and make sure that who the winner is. And it happens to be a woman that does, that's her job. She is, I can't remember what they call her, but she's the one that sanctions the race and determines who the winner is. So those are a few of the things about the Kentucky Derby this year. And I always have a Derby meal. I've actually took one with us when Sandy and I went to the Derby, and we had a hot brown casserole, which consists of bread, turkey, which is kind of an unusual thing. You think it mostly you put stuff like ham in a casserole, but turkey, and it's heavily done with Parmesan cheese and bacon, and topped with eggs, and then had a watermelon salad that was, I'm telling this on a Zoom meeting, but it was supposed to have some bourbon in it. And that was so good. My son ate half of it the night before. And I said, Zach, where did all the watermelon go? And then had pimento cheese eggs. It was a Southern Living recipe. My husband told me tonight, he said that was by far the best pimento cheese he's ever eaten. So we'll be having that again at my house. And Kentucky Derby pie, which consists of pecans and chocolate chips mainly, and a good deal of sugar. And you can't go wrong with that combo at all. And
Wait, question. There's no bourbon in the pie?
no bourbon in that particular recipe,
Wow.
but you could sneak some in. I think it'd probably make it taste good. And then mint juleps, which does consist of bourbon. But now I'll tell you, the lady on TV for Woodworth Reserve, which is the sponsor of the actual Derby race, she made a mint julep that she used honey instead of using sugar water. And I thought, whoa, I bet that gave that an interesting, an interesting taste to that. But the secret to a mint julep is not the bourbon and not how sweet you make it, but the crushed ice. Because you have a little bit of everything and then a whole lot of crushed ice. So it's kind of like making what those icy things or shaved ice things that
Oh, like slushies?
yes, yes.
Okay.
And then you always need to top it with a piece of mint. So just if nothing else but look. So anyway, that's my Derby recipe or
Wow.
menu for the day. And I like to pull out my silver and my good stuff when I do that. So we ate well even though my horse lost. How about that?
You know what? That's all that matters, really and truly. Who cares about whether the horse wins or loses, right? And I saw the picture of your spread from Kentucky Derby Day, and it looked fantastic. It was beautiful. As you say, you pulled out all the pretty silver and china. It looked wonderful. I wanted to come. Too bad,
Well,
too bad you live so far away, darn it.
I know it. We need to try that sometime. But you've got some interesting little facts about the Derby. What
Oh
did you
yeah, I
find?
just thought so. I happened to come across these in a magazine and I thought they were intriguing, so I thought I would share them. So, over the 2 days at Churchill Downs that the Derby and the Oaks takes place, 125,000 mint juleps are consumed. That's a lot of bourbon. 125,000. Wow. And another interesting fact, in 2023, a record $288.7 million was wagered across 14 races on Derby Day. So it wasn't all on the Derby, but that brings a lot of money in, right?
Oh, yeah.
The best betting payday for a winner was in 1913 when Donna Rail went off at, get this, 91-1. Can you, I mean, how much? That's incredible. You would have made so much money on that. And of course, the Kentucky Derby is called the Run for the Roses because they drape the rose thing over the horse. It takes 400 flowers to make that drape of roses that they put over the horse's shoulders, which looks very pretty. And I'm always very impressed that the horses don't object to it because I'm pretty sure if you'd ever put that over my pony, he would have bucked it right off.
Actually, they had a horse that did.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yes, and he pitched a fit, and the trainer ended up wearing it over his shoulders.
I
And
love it.
I'm going to tell one on Sandy. We're sitting in the stands. Sandy, this is not make fun of you. I just thought this is so funny. They had that red drape of roses and they parade across the race course over to the winner's circle with that. And they have military people that are holding it and carrying it. And Sandy looked at me and she said, why does that dead man out there? Because it did. It looked just the shape of a casket. Because they had it strung out and it was long.
I mean, it was long in there.
And I said, Sandy, that goes over the horse.
I like it. I like it. Dead body with roses draped over it. Oh, look, Kiro's with us. Hi, Kiro.
I grabbed
Oh
a hat.
my
This is my hat.
Use the body.
Just
There,
the
there you
body
go.
bag.
The Churchill Downs, death at Churchill Downs, and make a great mystery. Yeah.
Well, now that's the truth. That's the truth. But I got so tickled. But there is the same woman has been doing those roses for 30 or 40 years. Wow. And they do them the night before. And they are impressive. They are impressive. So
wow, roses don't hold up well once they're cut. So that is impressive.
yeah, yeah. And they work all night to get it ready
wow.
just for that. And can you imagine what the freezer is that they put the flowers in the dead man in?
Well, I mean, 400 roses. That takes up a lot of room. So
yeah, yeah, most definitely. All right, Nancy, let's talk about book covers.
Book covers. Yeah, that's probably the most important part of a book's packaging, right? So it's since we're pulling back the curtain, we're going to be honest about it. So Susan, let's hear about your experiences working with Harlequin and even doing your own, right?
Well, yes. My experience has improved through the years. Initially, I didn't get much say at all, or even asked, did I have an opinion on a cover? I just got the cover. And yeah, and my worst one by far, and probably one of my very favorite books, is this one right here. And you have to look really closely at how, for starters, the girl is not very attractive, but I could live with that. But I'm not sure if I can I'm looking backwards. Right,
Okay.
right here. I looked at it and I thought, why is there a railroad going into the fire? And I looked at it again and I'm still going, what is that? That is a pillow, y'all, that has a braid or something across it. But it looks just like a railroad. And this takes place in West Virginia at Snowshoe.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
really? That's
And
so cool.
I interviewed the girl, woman that is the head of the all things medical on the mountain, and I was really wanted this to look good, and I'm thinking, wow, railroad. But anyway, he turned out okay. She's iffy, and the railroad's out. But this was my worst, but since then they have changed. Actually, I think what 2, 3 times they've changed our covers, the initial outline part of it. But this one right here is my very favorite. But now I'm partial to men on the front of my covers. So and they tend to sell. So that's good. But this one was probably a runner-up to him. And I'm not sure he's not the same person with a different hairdo, but I liked him. But we fill out or Harlequin has us fill out a fact sheet, and you have to put 3 scenes. You have to tell what your character looks like, and then write a synopsis. And I don't ever send in any pictures of characters. You're offered to do that. But because I don't use that, I like my characters all to be entities of their own in my head. So they're always a combo of somebody. But I tend toward tall, dark, and handsome. You can't go wrong with that. But and tall Texan sort of people. But we fill that out. It takes me about 2 hours, but I have learned secret is that as I'm writing the book, I know what's going to be on the fact sheet. I write it down as I go, right? The color of their hair and their eyes and parts of their personality or things that I know that's going to be asked on the fact sheet, so that I'm just copying and pasting it over there. And technically I could go into the fact sheet and actually do it as I wrote the book, because you can go in and save and come back out and go back in and do it along. But it's the fact sheet is really important because I sell mostly in other countries, and they use the fact sheet to pick up the books that they're going to translate. And medicals, there's 6 a month that come out, but they only translate 4 of them. So if you're not one of those 4, then you're losing sales. And so I'm real careful to try to be as many times as possible one of those 4. Make it as easy as possible and do what they ask me to. Yes, ma'am.
Didn't you say your medical books are really big in France? I thought that was interesting.
Yes, they come, all of them in France come like this, the 2-in-1.
Ah,
And they put them out like that automatically, because the French, one of the editors used to say the French were mad for medicals, and
that's so interesting.
yeah. So they're big in France, and they sell #1 in England and Australia, and then it's France and Germany. So but I have them in I have books in Icelandic and all kinds of languages. So I think I'm up to about 17 languages now. So that's where I am. So Nancy, tell me what you think about doing book covers, because we kind of differ a little bit with them.
Well, so I started out very much like you because my first book was with Berkeley, which is a traditional publisher. And this was my first published novel, A Bridge to Love. I hated the title. They changed the title to that. It still makes me gag a little bit. But I had no input into this whatsoever. I just begged my editor to put the George Washington Bridge on the cover because A Bridge to Love, the George Washington Bridge is very prominent in the book. And you know what often happens? They find a stock photo and they'll be like, oh, look, the Golden Gate Bridge, let's slap that on the cover. And I was just like, please just put as long as it's a George Washington Bridge, I'll be happy. So, the cover's fine. It is the George Washington Bridge. So that was a relief. Probably my least favorite covers. And so then I moved on to Montlake Publishing. And these are probably my least favorite covers, not because they're bad. They're actually really pretty covers. But this is a series. These books are all related. How you would never know that in a million years, right? Now I will give them credit. They did when my books sold really well. They did recover them, but not. So this is this book recovered, and all of the ones now share that format. All of the Whisperhorse books share that format, but it's not particularly good. It just makes them look like a series. So I guess it's an improvement. But the cover I had the most fun with, honestly, at Montlake was The CEO Buys In, because I had an editor. So interestingly enough, I was an early author at Montlake. They signed me one of the earlier round of authors. So they hadn't really figured out their contract at that point. It was pretty standard. And I had a very good agent. And she managed to get into the contract that I had veto power over the covers. So, if I really didn't like a cover, I could say it needs to go back and be done. We need to go back to the drawing board, which, I try, but you don't do that unless it's a disaster, right? Because you said that yourself, Susan, that you try not to be too picky about it or to complain about it, because that's just not good public relations with your publisher. But I had an editor who believed in this book, The CEO Buys In, as much as I did. And we both had this real vision for it. And we sent this cover back. I lost track of it. I mean, there were times she sent it back without even showing it to me because she said it's still not right. So the book is set in Manhattan, and the first cover had palm trees behind him. You're like, there were some skyscrapers, but I think it was in Miami. So you could see the palm trees with the skyscrapers. And we're like, no, it's in Manhattan. Empire State Building, anyone? So we got the Empire State Building on it. And then the other thing I love about it eventually was exactly the way we wanted it. And this book was far and away my bestseller, over 250,000 copies. So he's a computer genius, and it has a little tiny, his cufflink is a computer chip. And that was just a little thing she did for me, which I thought was so, so nice. So that's a cover I'm really happy with. But now, of course, I do my own because I'm self-published. And this is my most recent one. This is the first book in the series. And you can see I very clearly branded them as a series. And because I liked the work. So I love these covers too, the consultant series. And I actually hired the cover designer who did these for my Montlake books to do my Royal Kaleva series because she clearly understood my vision. But the truth is at Montlake, I had to fill out those author questionnaires too, like you're talking about, except they never asked us for pictures. That would have been actually kind of useful if they had, because I had kind of a nightmare experience with these two books. So The Money Man, they nailed it, right? They showed me this cover the first time and I was like, yeah, that's great. And so they tweaked it a little bit. I don't even remember what they did to it. And I was like, oh, wow, this is great. So I wasn't worried about the second cover, which was The Hacker. So the first version of this that they sent me, so keep in mind, this was the first book, was a man naked in a bed like with sheets wrapped around him. This is the first cover. And now, so they're sending me a naked man in bed. Now, my books don't ever have naked men on them. That's just not my brand. And I'm looking at it and going, what? I mean, what? And that is the first time I literally said, no, you
Yeah.
have to go back and start over again. So
But
they
what
said,
did the sheets have to do with hacking anything?
nothing. They had nothing to do with anything. I don't know what they were thinking. And that's the kind of cover that you can get like kicked out of Amazon for. Although it was
Oh.
only the guy, which is better. So finally they said, well, find us a picture you like for the hacker. So they came up with this guy, and I said, okay, I'll take him. He's fine. But my favorite cover of these books is really The Agent, to be honest. So, and that one they came up with immediately too. So I was like, what happened on that middle book? I mean, did somebody just like lose their mind or, not read I mean, half the time I really honestly thought they didn't read the cover questionnaire, but
Right.
to be fair, they did a beautiful job on 99% of the books. So I really can't complain, particularly because they were willing to work with me on them. So that's a very unusual experience for an author, to have the publisher actively work with them to make the cover match the author's vision too, because mostly, like Susan said, you get what you get, and some of them are terrible.
Well, they've gotten to where they ask me, my editor will say, is this okay with you? So I have the option
Oh, good.
where I didn't used to have that at all. But I will tell y'all a little secret on one of my books. I turned in what my synopsis of what the book was going to be about. And by the time the book went in and was accepted, it had changed in one significant thread, and the blurb on the back of the book is wrong.
Oh no.
Will be a keeper's item if I ever become famous. Because that blurb on the back of that book, and one person emailed me and said, that blurb's not right. I said, yeah, but what could I do? They were already gone and out, and the names were right, but there was one key line or key plot line that never existed in the actual book when I got.
Oops. Well, I mean, that happens, right? Because things do change as you write. That's what's fun about being a writer, is you never quite know what direction the story will go in.
And I did not catch it and my editor, I mean, we just didn't think about it, that, hey, we need to go in and make sure that this is not in there. So I learned my lesson, though. I'm really conscious of it now, to make sure that everything I get on the fact sheet stays factual.
Right. Well, yeah, because as you said, if you're filling it in as you're writing, things change. And yeah, I'm really bad. I never filled it out until the very end. And I always kicked myself because it takes a long time. And, trying to find that key scene or trying to find, I don't know. And then they always asked me about comparable covers. Did you not get that to pick some covers that you thought were similar to your book or which? So yeah, it's an interesting process because it's really kind of an art, and yet it's marketing, so it's business too. So
well, my problem would be that I would be actually working and thinking about the next book, and I've even forgotten who they are or anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, no, I'm like losing my mind right now because Royal Caleva Gabrielle is the only book that's out in this series. Royal Caleva Luis is in proofreads right now and marketing because it launches in June. And yet I'm writing Royal Caleva Raoul while all this is going on. So yeah, your brain is just all over the place. And as you say, those characters are like in the back.
After they're done, they've hiked off somewhere else.
Exactly. They've ridden off into the sunset, right? They've ridden off into the sunset for their happy ending. It's true. Okay, well, I think that's all I have to say about covers. I just wanted to mention our next Pulling Back the Curtain will be June 18th at 7 p.m. EDT. Susan, you're going to bring us to a close?
Well, I am. I just wanted to see if anybody had anything they wanted to ask us real quick or to say or thoughts. Don't forget about our trivia questions. I will remind you of that. And I hope you plan to join us next month. And if there's nobody that wants to say anything or ask anything, we'll at least turn off the recording.
Good night.
Bye.